Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Game of the Week. We're in Week 5 of the Fall 2 Boston Public High School football season. And this afternoon, the O'Brien Tigers will be visiting the South Boston Knights. Now, we look at these two teams, and we'll start with O'Brien, the visiting team here this afternoon. And O'Brien sitting at 2-1. They're in the Boston North, so they're looking up at the East Boston Jets and the Latin Academy Dragons. However, if O'Brien is able to win today, they actually will be playing, East Boston and Latin Academy will be playing each other next week. So if one of those teams loses, O'Brien then plays Latin Academy at the end of the year. So if O'Brien wins out, they can then take the top spot in the Boston North standings if East Boston loses to Latin Academy last week. So even though they're looking up at two undefeated teams in the Boston North, O'Brien still has a chance. Another thing with O'Brien that we'll be looking for today is that they've actually been off for 2 weeks. Last week they did not play against Charlestown because of COVID protocols. That game did not happen. So O'Brien's been off for 2 weeks. Now, normally, sometimes you look at that as a negative because in football you have this kind of regimented schedule where you have practice for a week, then you have a game, same thing the following week, and on it goes. But in the Fall 2 season, because of the protocols and because of the lack of practice time, or the limited practice time in this particular season, sometimes being off for a week can help a team. So we'll see if O'Brien has actually improved over these last 2 weeks because they have not had a game in that amount of time. But they are 2-1. They've been one of the better teams in the Boston City League, and they certainly are a team that can either upset many teams, but they also can lose to a couple of teams, just depending on how they play this week. One of the players to look out for, obviously, is their senior Luke Maffeo. Luke has been in the program at O'Brien for at least 5, if not 6 years. He actually played a lot as an 8th grader for this O'Brien team. So we are just about set to go here at Moakley Field as O'Brien receives the kick. And on the return here for O'Brien, they make their way up to about the 45-yard line, I believe. It's tough to see the yard markers on this field right now, but O'Brien did have a nice return. And it looks like they will be marked down right around the 45-yard line. O'Brien actually won the toss and elected to receive. So, the O'Brien Tigers always seem to have some pretty good speed on the field and always seem to have some pretty good athletes to go along with usually having a good quarterback. So, O'Brien, I think, likes to get the ball first. They like to get up and score on a team and then use their speed defensively once they have that lead. So we'll see if that's what they're trying to do here this afternoon. Meanwhile, for South Boston, the home team here tonight, still looking for their first win of the season. So we'll see if they can pick that up at home here at Moakley Field in Southie. On first down, O'Brien goes the screen pass over the right side and slipping a tackle and picking up a couple of yards on first down for O'Brien is Peter Grell, as Grell is dragged down right around the 47-yard line. Grell also a senior for this O'Brien Tigers football team with a 2-yard gain on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 8 now for the Tigers. Tough, especially in this afternoon sunlight, to see the jersey distinction. O'Brien in the blue jerseys with the black pants. Southie in the gray jerseys with the blue pants. Man in motion is Jala, and Maffeo is able to collect the snap and then run forward for a couple of yards up to the 49-yard line. Then you see Luke Maffeo, a lot of experience under center, so even with a botched snap like that, Maffeo is able to pick the ball up. He's a good athlete, and he has a little bit of size as well, so he's able to plow forward for 2 more yards. So it'll be 3rd and 6 now for O'Brien. And like I mentioned, some other quarterbacks, especially younger quarterbacks, might have had a tough time with that snap. But because Luke has so much experience with this O'Brien football team and has the athleticism to carry the football, he was able to pick up some positive yardage. So it's 3rd and 6 now for the O'Brien Tigers from the O'Brien 49-yard line. They have to get to the South Boston 45 for a first down. Once again, Maffeo out of the shotgun. Ball gets knocked in the air and batted away. So South Boston coming across and making some plays on the defensive line. That was number 50 for Southie, Marquise, who came across and deflected that pass. So South Boston with a pretty good defensive stand so far here in on the opening possession. We'll see what O'Brien does here, as they're close to midfield, and we've seen a lot of teams, even if they're not quite at midfield, but they're on, say, the 45 or even the 42-yard line, will often go for it. And now on 4th and 6, we'll see what O'Brien decides to do. It looks like they're going to punt the football. Luke Maffeo back to kick for the Tigers. Maffeo with a high spiraling kick that gets a good southy bounce. And if you're South Boston, you got to get away from the football there, as O'Brien is able to down it right around the 37-yard line. It's really just about a 14-yard punt on that play. Good hang time and good air on that punt, but it just took a rough bounce there for Luke Maffeo. So South Boston with a good defensive stand to start off the ball game, and now they start off their first offensive possession at the 37-yard line. Alan Anoxie, the quarterback for the South Boston Knights. Anoxie taking it himself over the right side from the quarterback position, picks up about 4 on the play as he makes his way up to the 40-yard line. So a 3-yard pickup there on first down. It was actually a 4-yard pickup. They started off the football at the 36-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and 6 now for the O'Brien Tigers. Or rather for the South Boston Knights, excuse me. I'm going to make that mistake all afternoon because of these similar jersey colors, so please bear with me, folks. 2nd down and 6 now for the South Boston Knights after the 4-yard gain by the quarterback Anoxie. Now on 2nd down, they try to hand off out of the shotgun, and O'Brien is all over it. Coming across that time for the Tigers was number 79 for O'Brien. Jamari Williams, 6'1", defensive end, just a sophomore. This is actually a very interesting season for sophomore players who are getting time for these teams, because usually your sophomore year is sort of still getting your feet wet as a varsity player. Some of these players, they can get this varsity time and then they don't have a huge wait for their junior season when players usually kind of take off. So a lot of these young sophomore players can carry their good play into their junior years very quickly. Now on 3rd down, Anoxie trying to get rid of it. Couldn't hit his receiver as the ball was deflected. So you see the frustration on Anoxie. Coach Settywhite right there with the headset on. Frustrated with the offense as their defense had such a good stop there on the opening possession. They had good field position, but now South Boston back at the line of scrimmage at the 36-yard line. You got to think they're going to punt the football. Oh, looks like South Boston might go for it here. Could be a quick kick too, but it's Anoxie out of the shotgun, 4th and 10. And he is able to get a quick punt off. That takes a South Boston roll past the 40-yard line and trickles down to the O'Brien 38-yard line. So about a 22-yard punt on the play. So both offenses stalling on their opening possessions of this one, with O'Brien unable to put together anything on their offensive possession. And then South Boston had a decent play on 1st down, but then lost yardage on 2nd down, and then 2 incomplete passes on 3rd down, and the quick kick on 4th down. Now on first down for the O'Brien Tigers, Muhammad Jalla, the man in motion. They pitch to Jalla over the right side. Jalla showing off the speed. He's got some space. Jalla past midfield and then makes his way past the 45-yard line. We do have a flag in the backfield, so that could be a number of things. That might be a hold on an O'Brien receiver. We also have a flag right closer to the line of scrimmage. Looks like that's going to be a hold on O'Brien. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So they mark it back to the O'Brien 33-yard line. So it'll be second down. I'm sorry, it'll be first down and 15 for the O'Brien Tigers. The handoff over the left side this time for O'Brien. They got more space on the outside. Carrying the football is Lydell Johnson, who's got a lot of running room. He's finally shoved out of bounds on the sideline, but another big-time pickup running the football for the O'Brien Tigers. Johnson getting close to the South Boston 30 and even 25-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. But Johnson with a nice pickup there on first down after the holding penalty. They mark him down right at the 33-yard line. So a 24-yard, make that a 27-yard gain, I believe, on first down after the holding penalty for Lydell Johnson. That's the first down gain for either offense so far in this one. Now on first down after the big run, it's Maffeo taking it himself over the right side. Luke Maffeo showing off the power there as he makes his way past the 30 up to about the 28-yard line. About a 5-yard run there for the quarterback, Luke Maffeo. Not sure what the chains are doing there, as that was not a first down. So I don't know why they moved the chains further down. It should be second down and 5. And the handoff over the right side again to Johnson, and Lydell Johnson picking up yardage and then some. Showing off the power once again is Lydell Johnson as he makes his way up to about the 16-yard line. So Johnson with a 17-yard pickup there on second down. And he so far has had the two biggest plays of the ball game as Johnson with two massive carries to get O'Brien down the field. So it'll be first and 10 for the Tigers now from the South Boston 15-yard line. Maffeo runs the end around. They try a double reverse here, and it's South Boston who comes away with the football. Pouncing on it for the Knights that time was Enrique Chiapacasi. We also have a flag on the play, so we'll see what the explanation is here. I think the flag was possibly picked up because I think it was on O'Brien. So South Boston obviously elects to let that play stand. They recover at the 27-yard line. So South Boston picking up the fumble. Tough way for O'Brien to turn the football over. They were driving right down the field. And now it's an Oxy on first down. Gets drilled, but then picks up a couple more yards. Fights it off for 3 yards on the play as he makes his way up to the 30-yard line. So it'll be second down and 7 now for the South Boston Knights. I'm a little surprised that O'Brien head coach Kevin Gatson, who's a very good offensive play caller, uses a lot of different formations and sets and gets his athletes out in space really well. That's why O'Brien, and one of the reasons O'Brien's been very successful in Kevin's tenure. I am surprised that they ran that double reverse there just because they were driving down the field, just handing the ball off to Johnson and to Muhammad Jallah. But second down and 7 now for the South Boston Knights, and now we got a timeout where O'Brien calls a timeout here as they might have been confused defensively. Mike Branch, the longtime defensive coordinator for O'Brien. Actually see him in the middle of the huddle to the left there with the blue hat on. Kevin Gadsden all the way to the left with the white hat on there. He's the head coach and offensive play caller. Okay, so we'll see what happens here on second down and 7. You see Coach Mike Branch barking out instructions to his defense. Second down and 7 now for the South Boston Knights. Handoff out of the shotgun and nowhere to go with it for South Boston. They lost yardage on the play. As it looks like the handoff that time was to Isaiah Almonte. We're mostly seeing Almonte more as a receiver for this South Boston team, but because of his athleticism, Coach Sadie-White mentioned that he wants to try to get Isaiah involved in a bunch of different ways on the offensive side. Try to get him out in space and allow him to be creative with the football. So a 2-yard loss on the play. It'll be 3rd and 9 now for the South Boston Knights. Third down and 9. They try the screen pass over the left side, and the ball is complete. I think South Boston's going to be short of the first down by a couple of yards. Couldn't quite see who made the catch there for South Boston. I think it was either Isaiah Almonte or Ali Hassan. But it's going to be a 4th down, and we'll call it 3 for the South Boston Knights. They got to get to the 37-yard line for a first down. Out of the shotgun, Anoxie rolling to his right. Looks like he's going to take off and run. Flag on the play as Anoxie gets tripped up just past the line of scrimmage at the 35-yard line. And that's in the vicinity of a hold. I think that's going to be coming back. Because it was 4th down, however, O'Brien's going to take the football there because Anoxie was short of the first down as he was trying to reach the sticks on 4th down. So obviously O'Brien takes over now that they're short of the first down despite the penalty. Of course, if they took the penalty, it would allow South Boston another attempt at either going forward on 4th down or trying to punt. So best outcome, obviously, for O'Brien is that they take over on downs now at the South Boston 36-yard line. So it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Tigers after the 4th down stop. Okay, now that they have the ball spotted exactly where they want it, it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the South Boston 36-yard line. Now on 1st down, the handoff up the gut this time to Lydell Johnson, but we have a whistle on the play, pre-snap penalty. And I can't tell if South Boston called a timeout before the ball was snapped. I think that's what happened there, as it looks like South Boston's huddling up there. So Southie calls a timeout before the ball was snapped, and it's probably a good timeout because you saw Lydell Johnson pick up a nice gain there on 1st down. So, even though that these teams are now in week 5, although O'Brien didn't have a game last week, so it's almost like they're week 4. I mentioned the lack of practice time. We also have some players that, 1 week they're available, 1 week they aren't because it's not normally the football season right around this time of year. Some players are working part-time jobs. They can't make it to practice. They can't make it to a game. Sometimes, and of course what's going on with the pandemic, some players are just trying to help out their families and are getting part-time jobs as well. And some of them are not having the easiest time with the Zoom on for class, for remote learning. So it's, some players just aren't available some weeks. So even though they're in week 5 or so, there's just different players, it seems like, every week for each team. Now on 1st down, it's O'Brien giving it to Lydell Johnson, who makes his way past the 35 up to the 32-yard line. They need to really figure out what's going on with these chains because they keep moving when the ball moves. There we go. They've got them reset. So now it's 2nd down and 6 now for the Tigers, and another nice carry here on 1st down for Lydell Johnson, as Johnson makes his way past the 25 up to the 23-yard line. So that'll be a 1st down for the Tigers. And it looks like that is going to do it for the 1st quarter here at Moakley Field in South Boston. No score, as we've seen some stops on 4th down by O'Brien. We've seen South Boston recover a fumble, so neither team is able to really string a drive together here in the 1st quarter. So we're just about ready to start the 2nd quarter as they move the ball to the other side of the field. But O'Brien seems to be moving the football, clearly with Lydell Johnson, who's been the main ball carrier for the Tigers. Every time he gets the football, it's positive yardage. I think his shortest run so far has been for about 5 yards. So I would imagine O'Brien will try to go to him. Muhammad Jalla, number 1, is probably more of a slash player, goes in motion, is a receiver slash running back. We'll get a lot of end arounds and double reverses, and we'll get the ball thrown to him as well. So we'll see what O'Brien tries to draw up offensively for a guy like Jalla, but it's Johnson, Lydell Johnson, who's been the one that's been getting the carries in between the tackles, bouncing it to the outside and picking up the most yardage here in the 1st quarter. The Tigers now with the football. At the South Boston 23, make that the South Boston 24-yard line. Trying to put up the 1st score of the ball game here at the start of the 2nd quarter. As we mentioned, Tigers coming in this week at 2-1, while South Boston currently at 0-3, still looking for their 1st win of the season. handoff over the right side to Johnson. This time he's going to be wrapped up in the backfield. South Boston gang tackling nicely. First man in there coming across for the Knights. Looked like it was number 14, Siobhan Banks, the junior linebacker, for a 2-yard loss in the play there for Johnson. So it'll be second down and 12 now for the Tigers. On second down, Maffeo looking to throw. Almost got sacked in the backfield, but gets rid of it. And the Tigers pick up a solid gain there on second down. As Maffeo was able to find Lydell Johnson on that play. So it'll be third down and about 7 after the 5-yard gain there on second down. Once again, it's Maffeo out of the shotgun, going to go to the air one more time. This time over the middle, it's tipped. His receiver couldn't quite hang on to it. Couldn't see exactly who that was over the middle. It looks like that was Peter Grell across the middle, who couldn't hang on to the football. He had a little bit of room too. So I think if he caught it, that would have been a first down for the Tigers. Now on fourth down, it's Maffeo. I think he's about a half a yard short. He was almost there as Maffeo on the quarterback keeper. They ran an option play, and Maffeo took it himself. Was stopped short of the first down, so that's going to be a turnover on downs for O'Brien as South Boston takes over. Right around the, looks like about the 17. I think they marked it down actually at the 15-yard line. So once again, South Boston's defense coming up with some stops. They had the big tackle in the backfield. They're on first down to make it tougher for O'Brien to pick up a first. So the Tigers, drove right down the field, but then at the start of the second quarter, couldn't continue the drive. So now it's South Boston Knights, who haven't picked up a first down yet here in the first half. We'll see what they can do on this next offensive possession. They run an outside run here on first down, and a solid gain on the play. Couldn't quite see the number of the South Boston player. They have the gray jerseys with the blue numbers, which makes it nearly impossible to see the numbers. It's tough to see who had that carry on that play. Might have been Takeo James. Second down and 7 now for the South Boston Knights. Try another outside handoff there, but this time O'Brien's all over it with their penetration in the backfield. Looked like that was Lemerritt Petit Omi coming across, just a freshman. He was able to get in there and make the tackle. So both teams' defense is getting some penetration, making some stops in the backfield. It's been O'Brien who's really been attacking on defense. Meanwhile, for South Boston, O'Brien's been able to get down the field and get into the red zone, but South Boston's hung tough there. Now the Knights need to call a timeout here in the second quarter to try to regroup here offensively, as they're going to be faced with a third down and, I'd say, third down and 11. South Boston, as we mentioned, has not been able to pick up a first down here in this first half. Seems like they get a positive play, then they get a negative play, and then they're kind of, in a third and long situation, just like they are here. So if you're Coach Satterwhite, it's a tie game right now, but because you don't have a lot going on, you do wonder if they don't pick up the 11 yards here on third down, will South Boston go for it on fourth down, even though they don't have good field position? They're deep in O'Brien territory, so if they do give it up with a turnover on downs, O'Brien's going to get a great field position, their best field position of the game. So first things first, South Boston now faced with a 3rd and 11. From the O'Brien 19-yard line. Anoxe out of the shotgun. Now has some room to run. Anoxe dances off one tackler and then is forced out of bounds just past the 30-yard line. So Alan Anoxe, I believe, picked up the first down. Chains are on the far side of the field. And it is a first down for Anoxe as they mark him out of bounds right around the 33. So about a 14-yard pickup there on third down for Alan Anoxe, the junior quarterback for the South Boston Knights. We saw Anoxe a couple of weeks ago when South Boston lost to Boston English very convincingly, but Anoxe actually got injured, or hurt at least, in the second half of that game, but stayed in the game. He kind of was limping for the rest of the half, but really showed a lot of toughness and leadership staying in the game after getting banged up, despite it being out of hand really late in the third quarter especially. Now on first down, it's Anoxe again off the fake. And Alan Anoxe makes his way up to the 38-yard line. So about a 6-yard gain there, a 5-yard gain on first down. So it'll be second down and 5 now for the South Boston Knights. Second down and 5 now for South Boston. They try the pass over the left side there, and coming across and deflecting that pass for O'Brien was number 55, Egbon, the 6', 220-pound senior defensive lineman. Sakakani Egbon with the deflection, doing a nice job from that defensive end spot. It'll be third down and 5 now for the South Boston Knights. The good thing for Southie is, the last couple of times they've tried to convert on third down, it's been third and long, third and 10, third and 11. Now they have a third and 5, much more manageable. We'll see if the Knights can pick up a 5-yard gain here. Anoxe, again back to throw. Throws over the left side. Nice little move by South Boston's receiver, and he makes his way past the sticks. They're on third down. That was number 7 for the South Boston Knights, Omar Baldi, the junior wide receiver, with a 7-yard pickup on the play as they mark him down at the 44-yard line. So it'll be first and 10 for South Boston as they are now starting to move the football. They have 2 first downs, their first 2 first downs of the half come on this drive. Anoxe now looking to go to the air. Now he's got to escape the rush. Anoxe to the sideline, and it's intercepted. Picked off by O'Brien, and that's Muhammad Jalla with the interception. They mark him down at the 46-yard line. Make that the 47 of South Boston. And just when you thought the offense was starting to pick up steam here for the South Boston Knights, Jalla comes away with an interception near the sideline. We also saw O'Brien's defensive line get some pressure, force Anoxie to move out of the pocket and have to get rid of the football. So Anoxie, not an experienced quarterback coming into the season, but is now getting a lot of reps. And I know Coach Sattywhite is excited to have Allen as the quarterback, for the rest of this season, of course, and also for the upcoming fall season. So, these are the type of mistakes that an inexperienced quarterback will make. When a play like that, they roll out and try to pick up a first down on a throw like that. But it was a tougher throw for a player like him, and that's why he was intercepted that time by Jallo. Folks, we're bringing you this game from Moakley Park in South Boston. And Moakley Field, right off the Rotary near JFK UMass Red Line T-Stop. And folks, if you want to follow us on social media, you can go to our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/GameOfTheWeekBoston. A lot of good stuff up on that site. We update which games we're going to be covering. We also put links to all the games we've covered in the past there as well. So make sure you like us there. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can go to our website if you want to watch games as well. You can go to www.boston.gov/cable. Scroll to the bottom of the page. It'll say Game of the Week. You click on that tab. It routes you to our video library, and that is where you can find any games we've covered this season, previous seasons, basketball games, BNBL games. All that stuff is there for you to check out, so make sure you visit that website. Finally, you can follow us on Twitter @BostonCityTV, and if you want to tweet at us, use the hashtag BostonGOW. Also, folks, if you're watching this game on YouTube, which is where we live stream most of our games, you can also subscribe to the Boston City TV YouTube channel, where you can see Game of the Week. You can see updates from the mayor of Boston, Mayor Janey, who's giving updates on COVID-19 and some other things happening in the city. We also have all of our board meetings that are done with the city of Boston. So that's Boston Planning and Development Agency, zoning, public improvement. All those meetings are streamed live on Boston City TV. So if you subscribe, you can watch games. You can watch all that city content on our City TV YouTube channel. Now on first down for O'Brien. It's Maffeo out of the shotgun, looking over the middle. He's got his receiver. Nice catch that time by Jalla. He's going to go in standing up for a touchdown. Mohamed Jalla on the post route with the catch from Maffeo. Off the pass from Maffeo, rather, and Jalla gets in there for the touchdown. First score of the game for the Tigers after they get the interception. So Jalla gets the interception, then he goes down the field and catches the touchdown for the Tigers. I believe that was a 43-yard, makes that a 47-yard touchdown throw from Luke Maffeo to Mohamed Jalla. Brian now looking for the two-point conversion. Maffeo rolling to his right and couldn't hit his receiver. The ball was a little too low that time as he was looking for Peter Grell. But 47-yard touchdown connection from Luke Maffeo to Mohamed Jalla. And O'Brien is on top now, 6-0 over the South Boston Knights here in the second quarter. And you saw O'Brien really moving the ball down the field, running the football, but then they would have a turnover, or they would get, a stop. Southie would get a stop in the backfield, so then O'Brien would be faced with third and long. They punted on their first possession of the game. That time, O'Brien, after they get the interception from Mohamed Jalla, they then find Mohamed Jalla, the pass from Maffeo to Jalla up the seam there. Jalla then scampers to the end zone for the touchdown. So one big play can really change a game, and you see it right there as O'Brien gets the spark on the 47-yard touchdown connection from Maffeo to Jalla. So we'll see what happens here with South Boston if they can try to string another drive together. They started moving the football on their last possession before Allen Anoxie threw the interception to Mohamed Jalla. The Knights are itching to get back out on the field. Bryant with a nice end-over-end kick that's fielded right around the 20-yard line. And O'Brien comes down with the tackle. That was Luke Maffeo with the stop. We also got a flag on the play. That was right near the returner, so that might be a face mask penalty. We'll see if that's the call. And that might be a hold on South Boston. It was on South Boston, so if that's a 10-yard penalty, it's a hold. And that drives South Boston all the way back to about the 9-yard line. On first down, they try the end around here, and there's an opening here for this South Boston running back. Nice, excellent run here for the South Boston Knights. As that was number 10 for Southie, Mayaniza Freeman with a nice run there for South Boston, the spark that they absolutely needed as he makes his way past the 40-yard line. See where they marked him down. I believe it's at the 40. We'll call it the 49. So a 40-yard run there for Mayaniza Freeman. Now on first down for the South Boston Knights. Anoxay out of the shotgun and tries to find his receiver, and even though he caught the football, Almonte had nowhere to go with it. Tried that little bubble screen to Isaiah Almonte. Big loss on the play as they mark him down at the 43-yard line. So a 6-yard loss on the play for Mayaniza Freeman, and for Almonte. So that'll be second down and 16 now for the South Boston Knights. Second down and 16 now for the South Boston Knights. Anoxy rolling to his right, looking for somewhere to throw the football, but he is drilled right around the line of scrimmage that time by number 52, Armani Rivas, the senior linebacker, getting in to make the tackle. More yardage lost on the play for South Boston, so it's going to be third and long once again for the South Boston Knights. See O'Brien, they've got some speed in that front seven as you see some linebackers and defensive linemen coming across and making tackles in the backfield. So they marked the Knights down at the 40-yard line, so it'll be third and 19 now for the South Boston Knights. Now on third down, they try the bubble screen again. They have a little bit of an opening, but excellent tackle that time by O'Brien. And once again, coming across the linebacker, Armani Rivas, with his second tackle in a row. Prevented Almonte from going anywhere with the football. About a 3-yard loss on the play. So South Boston now with it at the 38-yard line. South Boston's going in the wrong direction, so it's going to be fourth and 21 now for the South Boston Knights. And the punt is blocked that time from O'Brien as South Boston was trying more of a quick kick there. But O'Brien comes up with the blocked punt. They recover at the 27-yard line. That's Egbon again getting in the backfield and making the block. So South Boston with a tough offensive possession on that last sequence as they actually lost yardage throughout the series and then had that blocked punt. So O'Brien now on top, 6-0 here late in the second quarter. We'll see if the Tigers can try to put another score up before halftime. We're not exactly sure how much time is left. The scoreboard is not operating here at Moakley Field. But we'll see what the O'Brien Tigers can put together here late in the second quarter. They have the football at the South Boston 27-yard line after that blocked punt. So I believe that was the designated water break that has been put into these COVID rules for this Fall 2 season, allowing teams, the referees decide when to have sort of a water break in the second quarter. That isn't a charge timeout to either team, just because players are wearing masks and referees are wearing masks and so forth. And now South Boston calls a timeout here after the water break to figure out exactly what they're doing defensively. So as we mentioned, O'Brien coming in at 2-1 on the season, looking for their third win of the year. South Boston 0-3 on the season, still looking for their first win here in the Fall 2 season of 2021. As we've been saying all season long, too, for these football programs, it's going to be a quick turnaround to the the normal Fall 2021 season, as they'll be finishing up in the next couple of weeks. April 23rd, I believe, is the last Friday of the season where each team will be playing their final game. They have 7 weeks of football. And then you've got about 3 months until you're back at it for training camp. I think that 3.5 months, usually about mid-August, they really start to ramp it up. But teams will have captain's practice over the summer and weightlifting and a lot of different things for these football programs. Luke Maffeo on first down with another completion over the middle. As that time he found his receiver, Peter Grell, the tight end. Picks up 7 on the play. 2nd down and 7 now for the O'Brien Tigers. Maffeo again going to the air. Gets rid of it over the right side to Johnson. Johnson with a nice little move. Makes his way down the field. It looks like he's past the 10-yard line there. Inside the 10, right around the 7-yard line. So it'll be a 1st and goal now for the Tigers. They're trying to put up a score here before halftime. Got to be under a minute the way that the Tigers are moving the football, going no huddle here. Of course, with a 1st down, the clock stops. And then we'll reset. Maffeo hands off on the inside to Johnson this time. Johnson picks up a couple. And now O'Brien takes a timeout here late in the second quarter. It'll be 2nd down and goal from inside the 10-yard line. The Tigers had that 47-yard touchdown connection from Luke Maffeo over the middle to Muhammad Jalla earlier in the quarter to get up the first score of the game. Now the Tigers looking to tack on another touchdown here before the half. They've had several contributors, but it's mostly been Jalla through the air, and then you saw Lydell Johnson with a catch and a handoff to pick up a first down. So now the Tigers faced with a second down and goal from right around the 4-yard line. Maffeo, hands off over the middle. Johnson plowing forward. Close to the goal line. Did he get in? No, he's short. They dropped him right around the 1-yard line. It'll be first and goal from, or rather third and goal, excuse me, right around this 2-yard line, it looks like. Jalla's the man in motion. Over the middle, they get the catch for the touchdown for Grell. So Omi Grell gets a touchdown catch. Let's clarify. Nope, that was the 2-point conversion. So it was Johnson who got in on the touchdown earlier. It'd be nice if the referees actually signaled that there was a touchdown. That would help everybody. But yes, it was a touchdown for O'Brien. Johnson plowing it in from the 4, and then Omi Grell making the catch over the middle for the 2-point conversion. So it's now O'Brien on top, 14-0 here late in the second quarter. So you saw O'Brien come away with a touchdown earlier in the quarter with a 47-yard touchdown pass. This time, even though they had the blocked punt, they kind of methodically went down the field. Did it quickly, too, to score their second touchdown of the game. Tigers now on top, 14-0 over South Boston. We're still not sure exactly how much time's left, as we shall see once Southie gets the ball back what they try to do. I think it'll depend on the time left, too, if they try to get anything going here. If there's less than, say, 20 seconds left, I don't think Southie's going to try to put anything together. They're going to receive to start the third quarter, so I think they'll just kneel on it and go in at halftime. If there's more than that left on the clock, I think South Boston will probably try to at least try one of those bubble screens, try to get a big play, and then if they get a big play down the field, they'll try to throw it again. But you don't want another turnover or any type of play where you can give O'Brien another chance to score. A nice boot there by Maffeo. It's fielded inside the 15-yard line and then drilled right around the 20 that time for the South Boston Knights. Couldn't quite see who came up with the tackle for O'Brien. I think that was Almonte on the return. A touchdown drive for O'Brien was 4 plays, 25 yards. 2 passes and 2 rushes for the Tigers. It was capped off by the 6-yard touchdown run for Johnson. And, of course, the 2-point conversion to Peter Grell over the middle from Luke Maffeo. Another bubble screen here for the South Boston Knights. Nice effort here for Southie, still on his feet and being dragged down near the sideline. That time was Omar Baldy. So Baldy with a nice pickup here for the South Boston Knights as he makes his way up to the 34, make that the 32-yard line. Like about an 11-yard pickup there on first down. Now on first down, it's Anoxie taking it himself as he makes his way just past the line of scrimmage to about the 32-yard line. Make that the 33. So a 2-yard pickup there on first down for Anoxie. Southie moving quickly here on this drive. 2nd down and 8 now for the Knights. Looking deep down the middle of the field, and it's intercepted that time by O'Brien. It's Mohamed Jalla once again with the pick. That's his 2nd interception of the half. It makes sense that South Boston took a shot down the field. There's not a lot of time left in the first half here, and I think that's going to be it for the first half. It looks like we're looking at halftime. So South Boston unable to pick up a big play there on that last possession of the first half. So the Knights trail the O'Brien Tigers 14-0 here for Moakley Field in South Boston. So that first quarter, both defenses for each team were able to come up with some stops and limit either team from getting even close to scoring a touchdown. But then you saw the interception by Mohamed Jalla about midway through the second quarter, got them into South Boston territory, and then Luke Maffeo found Jalla over the middle, up the seam for a 47-yard touchdown, and that sort of broke things open there in the second quarter. And then South Boston, they go 3 and out, they go to punt, and the punt is blocked by O'Brien, so then O'Brien recovers right around the 25-yard line or so. They drive right down the field for a score just before the end of the half there for the Tigers. So they're on top 14-0 here at halftime. We'll see if South Boston can make some adjustments offensively. Defensively, they really haven't been that bad. They had that one big pass play, and then the drive before the half, they were put in a really tough situation where they were already defending, being at their own 25-yard line or so. So I think it's offensively where South Boston's just got to get something going. They've had some nice plays, but they haven't been able to string a bunch together. And I think if Southie can do that, they'll be able to put a drive together, put a score up, and that will change the game dramatically. South Boston does start off the third quarter receiving from O'Brien, so we'll see if they can come up with a big play in special teams to get them going here on Game of the Week. We're at the half here from Moakley Park in South Boston. It's the O'Brien Tigers on top of the South Boston Knights, 14-0. Folks, we're going to head to break. When we come back, we'll hope to have some halftime stats for you just before we start the third quarter here on Game of the Week. Make sure you stick around.
I never graduated from high school. I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse,
Yes.
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Each year, there are more than a dozen significant tropical and winter storms that threaten the East Coast. So chances are there will be more hurricanes and blizzards near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
All right, Monroe, you ready? Monroe. Here we go, the butterfly. Ready? Ooh.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 30 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to Game of the Week. We're at the half here between the O'Brien Tigers and the South Boston Knights. O'Brien leads South Boston 14-0. We got some halftime stats for you here. We'll start off with the O'Brien Tigers, who actually really got going offensively after that first quarter. Second quarter is when they were able to put up their 14 points. So we'll start off with the quarterback, Luke Maffeo. He has 3 rushes for 12 yards, so 4 yards a clip. Luke's never going to have a big 40-yard, 50-yard touchdown run, but really does a nice job picking up good chunks of yardage to pick up first downs for the Tigers. Also through the air, he's 6 for 9 passing the football, 74 yards. Of course, the 47-yard touchdown to Mohamed Jallah. Jallah through the air, 1 catch for 47 yards. That touchdown, he has not carried the football so far in this game. Then you have Lloyd L. Johnson, who was really the main ball carrier in that first half for O'Brien. He had 7 carries for 60 yards and a rushing touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 16 yards. He also had Peter Grell with 3 catches for 11 yards for the O'Brien Tigers. So good, efficient second quarter, really, for O'Brien in the first quarter when they had a tough time moving the football. Meanwhile, for the South Boston Knights, you have Alan Anoxe, the quarterback, with 6 rushes for 27 yards. You also had Takeo James run 1 rush for 7 yards. Isaiah Almonte, they tried to get a few runs going with him, but he has -6 yards rushing. Hasn't been able to come up with much there in the first half. Mayonesa Freeman with that 1 carry for 40 yards. They ran sort of a reverse, or I can't remember if it was a reverse or an end around with Freeman. So he was able to pick up a big gain on that play. And then through the air, Omar Baldi with 3 receptions for 25 yards. And Anoxe is actually 5 for 8 through the air with 16 yards. He's lost some yardage on sacks and so forth and passes behind the line of scrimmage. So, South Boston has been able to come up with a couple of different plays to gain some yardage there in the first half, but they weren't able to really string, 3 or 4 of those big plays together. I think that's the biggest takeaway that we can take from the first half, is that South Boston just hasn't been able to string together a full drive. The first couple of possessions in the first quarter, they weren't able to get a first down. But then they started to move the football, but they had the interception, which really changed the game. Mohamed Jallah got that interception right around midfield, brought it back into South Boston territory. Then he caught the touchdown pass from Luke Maffeo, and that's really where things turned around. Then on top of that, South Boston got their punt blocked by O'Brien there in the second quarter. O'Brien was able to recover inside the 30-yard line. Then 4 plays later, they're punching it in with Lloyd L. Johnson for the 6-yard touchdown run. They get the 2-point conversion over the middle to Peter Grell. So that's what O'Brien was able to do in the first half. You see what kind of athletes O'Brien has. They have good running backs and receivers that are kind of interchangeable. They can all kind of run the football, catch the ball out of the backfield, catch the ball when they're lined up at receiver. So, and Coach Gadsden and his coaching staff always does a good job getting his guys the ball out in space and in certain areas where they can make moves and gain yardage up the field. So we'll see what happens with South Boston here, as they are going to receive to start the third quarter here at Moakley Park. One little tidbit, though, of this game is a lot of folks who follow City League football know Luke Maffeo is actually the twin brother of the starting quarterback for the Latin Academy Dragons, Zach Maffeo. And over the last couple of years, those two teams have played on Thanksgiving. So it's always kind of fun at the end of the year to see Luke Maffeo and Zach Maffeo, two twin brothers, going at it, the two quarterbacks playing against each other on Thanksgiving. Obviously, this season there's no Thanksgiving game, but Latin Academy and O'Brien will be playing the final week of the year on Friday, April 23rd, in a game at White Stadium as it's scheduled now. We'll see how White Stadium's field conditions are for that game. We are expected to broadcast that game for you, so that'll be a fun one to see the two twin brothers squaring off at White Stadium. Another little tidbit, too, is, as we mentioned in the opening of this broadcast, is that O'Brien is 2-1 on the season. If they win today, they go to 3-1. And right now, Latin Academy and East Boston are 4-0 in the Boston North. So if Latin Academy actually plays O'Brien at the end of the year, so if East Boston loses to Latin Academy next week, and then O'Brien beats Latin Academy in the final week, Latin Academy will be 4-1. Make that 6-1. 5-1. East Boston will be 5-1, and O'Brien will be 5-1. So it'll be sort of a 3-way tie at the top of the division of the Boston North, if that's how it kind of falls out over the next few weeks. But first things first here for O'Brien. They have to defeat South Boston. They're up 14-0. They're about to kick off to the South Boston Knights. We'll see if the Knights can sort of recover from that first half and get and string a few of these big plays together here in the third quarter. It's more of a short kick there. South Boston's got to pick it up as they field it right around the 25-yard line. And that's always a tough play for one of the kick returners for a high school football team, where a kick, gets sort of high in the air, but then it just drops and it just kind of sits there. And you have to kind of go attack the football and scoop it up and then make a play. Sometimes for less experienced kick returners, you're sort of like in between, going to get the football and letting it bounce out of bounds, and especially on a kickoff, because it's a free ball, it's not like a punt where you can let it just dribble. You have to go get it. You have to go attack the football, unless you definitely know it's going out of bounds. Go get the football and run it back for your team. So South Boston now with the football at their own 25-yard line. Not sure what we're waiting for here. Sometimes it's the EMT. They got to make sure that the EMT is actually on one of the sidelines before they get anything going, for safety reasons. Also might have been the referees are keeping track of the time down on the field. So, they got to make sure that the time is correct before they get going here in the third quarter. That is a tough job for a referee. You're trying to make the calls out on the field, but you're also keeping the time because the scoreboard is not the official time really in any high school football game. Now on first down, they go with the outside run this time, and again, South Boston is chopped down in the backfield. Couldn't quite see who got the carry that time for South Boston Knights. It might have been Mayonesa Freeman. Looked like it might have been number 10 on that carry. Well, that's a big loss on the play for the South Boston Knights as they mark him down right around the 15. I'm sorry, they mark him down right around the 19-yard line. So that was about a 6-yard loss on the play. It'll be second down and 16 now for the South Boston Knights. South Boston, second down and 19 now for the Knights after that 6-yard loss in the play. Looks like they're having some trouble just lining guys up in the right spot. Anoxe short on that throw as they try again like a little bit of a bubble screen, and the ball falls incomplete. You had sort of two receivers in the area, so it looked like one of them made a mistake as to which play they were running, because you had one receiver coming back for the football. That is more of a bubble screen, whereas you had one receiver that just sort of turned around and looked for the ball, where that is just a quick pitch out to one of the receivers. So even though those plays, are sort of, they look similar sometimes, they're two completely different plays, and one receiver looked like he was running one play, and one receiver was running a different play. So, we'll see what South Boston can try to put together here on 3rd and 16. Really tough situation to start off the third quarter with. And that's been their biggest Achilles heel too, is they have a play either on first or second down where they lose yardage and they just can't recover from it. See if they can pick up some yardage here. 3rd down and 16 now for the South Boston Knights. Anoxe again back to throw, looking over the left side, and the ball falls. It's caught after being tipped. It's caught by South Boston. Mayonesa Freeman once again with the reception, and he picked up a first down as he was able to catch the football right around the 37-yard line. It looks like make that the 39-yard line. So that's a first down for South Boston. I don't believe Freeman was the intended receiver, but one of the South Boston receivers tipped the ball up in the air, and then Freeman was able to concentrate and catch the football off the deflection. So South Boston with the first down at the 39-yard line. Sorry, make that the 38, so it'll be 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line for the South Boston Knights. Sometimes plays like that, you can get you a little bit of a break there. Receiver makes a nice play on the deflection, and that's sometimes opens some things up for you offensively. So we'll see what happens here now for the Knights after that big play. On first down, the handoff over the right side. Couldn't quite see who got the carry that time. Oh, it was Freeman on first down, who was able to pick up 2 on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 8 now for South Boston. Even a play like that, I know they didn't pick up much there, but it's 2nd down and 8 now. Now you're, you don't lose yardage, so you're getting positive yardage here for South Boston, and that's been, they've had a lot of series and a lot of drives where on their first down they lose yardage. So it'll be 2nd down and 8 now for the Knights. See if they can pop another run here, keep this drive going. We got a flag on the play. It's a pre-snap penalty before they even run anything. And that's going to be a false start on the South Boston Knights. So I spoke too soon. Southie picks up 2 yards on first down and then gets the false start penalty here on 2nd down. So that'll back them up. I'm sorry, that's an offsides penalty. And O'Brien, I'm surprised they stopped the play. It must have been unabated to the quarterback. That's a 5-yard offside penalty on O'Brien. So that'll make it a 2nd down and 3 now for the South Boston Knights. So a big break there for Southie. I thought that was going to be a penalty on South Boston because they whistled the play dead before it even got going. So it'll be 2nd down and 3 now for the Knights. They need to get to the O'Brien 46 for a 1st down. There you see Anoxie with the carry, makes his way up to the O'Brien 45-yard line. So that is a 1st down for South Boston. 9-yard carry on the play for Anoxie. So now you're seeing Southie move the football a little bit. See, you saw that pass get deflected in the air. They get the catch. You know, South Boston's thinking nothing's going right for us. We've got a 3rd and 16. You see the receiver, one of the receivers, the intended receiver, deflected the ball in the air, but then another receiver, Freeman, was able to come down with it. They sort of catch a break there. Then they gain some positive yardage on 1st down. They get a penalty. Then they're able to get a nice run there from their quarterback to get another 1st down. Now things are moving here for South Boston. I think this is a big opportunity for them to try to string this drive together and march down the field. We'll see what the Knights decide to do here on 1st down from the O'Brien 45-yard line. Anoxie looking for a receiver. Has his man, but he is nailed at the line of scrimmage. He's looking for Almonte. Almonte was able to make the catch, but lost a yard on the play. As you saw the speed of O'Brien, that was Luke Maffeo, the quarterback, coming across and making the tackle. Luke actually plays all over the field. We've seen him mostly at quarterback today, but he plays linebacker. Even on offense, they'll move him to tight end. He's a very good athlete. Isn't lightning quick, but, makes plays like that all the time, and you see the senior leadership out of Luke Maffeo there, causing a 1-yard loss for the South Boston offense. So now Southie's going to take a timeout here before 2nd down and 11. I think this is a good timeout here from Coach Sadie White, because I think what he's trying to do here, they had so much momentum before that play, getting down the field and getting into O'Brien territory, that he's going to probably say to his guys, listen, we had a couple of plays that we were able to string together. That play didn't work out for us, but let's, we have 2nd down and 11 now. Let's try to get some positive yardage here. If we can get a 5-6-yard play, then you're looking at a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and even better if you can pick up some more yardage here on 2nd down, and just see if we can get our momentum back here. So I think this is a good timeout for Coach Sadie White. I can see exactly what he's trying to do to try to keep his players with it on this particular drive, because this has been probably the most productive drive that South Boston has had so far, not in terms of total yardage on the drive, but just the amount of plays they've been able to string together, especially when you didn't think things were going their way, but then again, that tipped pass where they were able to get the completion of Freeman has really changed things here on this drive, so we'll see what Southie can come up with out of the timeout. Meanwhile, for O'Brien, they're just trying to keep South Boston out of the end zone. The 14-point lead, and O'Brien's defense is really flying to the football. You see guys, you saw Maffeo coming across and making that play. We've also seen Armani Rivas with a couple of tackles in the backfield. And Egbon, one of their senior defensive linemen, who's made some tackles in the backfield as well. So you've seen these quick defensive front 7 players for O'Brien really make a lot of plays in the box for the Tigers. This is a very long timeout. I'm not exactly sure if another one was called. So I'm not 100% sure if they also have that designated water break in there as well, if they extended the timeout. So coming out of the timeout, South Boston looking to keep this drive going. They'll be faced with a 2nd down and 11 from the O'Brien 46-yard line. Run over the right side this time for South Boston. They pick up a couple on the play. Couldn't quite see who the ball carrier was. It'll be 3rd down and 8 now for the South Boston Knights. Third down and 8 now for South Boston. Another dangerous pass that time. It's broken up nicely by the linebacker, Rivas, as they were once again looking for Almonte. Now that they're in O'Brien territory, I'm sure Southie's going to go for it here on 4th down. Be 4th and 8 from the O'Brien 43-yard line. So 4th down and 8. It looks like South Boston's actually going to punt the football. Anoxi's throwing it over the middle. He's got his receiver. Nice catch over the middle here for South Boston. And being dragged down right around the 15-yard line. That's Mayaniza Freeman again. Freeman's having the best game of any South Boston Knight. And he makes another nice catch over the middle that time, fighting for the football. Nice throw that time by Anoxi. You can see Anoxi's fired up after that throw as well. So now you're seeing some momentum here from the South Boston Knights. You get a couple of good plays going, and that's the result. So South Boston with the big completion down to the 15-yard line. So it was about a 28-yard connection. 1st and 10 now for the Knights from the 15. Anoxi looking for an opening. And he gets gang tackled right around the 15. Might have picked up a yard on the play. See where they spot the football. It looks like it was just about a 1 yard, maybe a 2 yard gain on the play. So let's call it 2nd down and 8 for the South Boston Knights. Now on 2nd down, they try the screen over the middle. And they did find Montero, but he lost his footing a little bit there as the pass was a little low. So Montero's knee scuffed the turf, so not a big gain on that play. I think he picked up 2 on the play, so it'll be 3rd and 6. No, just 1 on the play, so it'll be 3rd and 7 now for South Boston. That play was open, though. It looked like if the pass was a little bit more accurate, if Montero was able to keep his footing a little bit, they might have had a lot more than just that 1 yard gain. So things are starting to open up for the South Boston football team. 3rd down and 7, certainly 4 down territory for the Knights. They don't have to necessarily get a 1st down on this play. They've controlled the football throughout this entire third quarter so far. 3rd and 7 now for the South Boston Knights. Anoxie rolling to his left, and the pass is deflected that time by O'Brien. Once again, their front seven, especially their defensive linemen, getting in there and getting penetration. Big number 79, Jamari Williams, and a few other defensive linemen coming across to make the deflection. So it'll be 4th and 7 now for South Boston. We'll see what the Knights can come up with here. I would imagine they're going to go through the air. That's where they've been most successful. They could try to find a way to get Mayonnaise Freeman open. Fourth and 7, the hard count for South Boston, and I believe that was encroachment on O'Brien as they came across. It was an offsides on O'Brien, so that's going to be a 5-yard penalty. So now instead of a 4th and 7, it's going to be a 4th and 2 for the South Boston Knights. Much more manageable. Now they can kind of run any play they want here on 4th and 2. They can have an Oxy run it himself. They can try to hand off. They can try a short little bubble screen pass. We'll see what they come up with, but it's going to be a short 4th and 2 for the South Boston Knights. Knights with that spread formation. Anoxie going to try to take it himself. Doesn't have a lot of running room, and he is not going to get to the first down. He's dragged down out of bounds that time by O'Brien. Coming across to make the tackle that time was Lloydell Johnson, who had a nice first half running the football for O'Brien. Now makes probably the biggest defensive play of the game so far for the Tigers as he wraps up Anoxie there on 4th down. So that's a turnover on downs. It'll be 1st down for O'Brien at the South Boston. Looks like it'll be about the South Boston 10-yard line. I think that's the end of the quarter. As you saw, O'Brien control the football for the entire quarter right there, but they do turn it over on down. So that's the end of the third quarter here from Moakley Field in South Boston as the O'Brien Tigers continue to lead the South Boston Knights 14-0. As we're just about ready to start the fourth quarter, you saw South Boston really start to string some plays together there. They were able to get a drive going, but they were stopped on 4th down. And now O'Brien will take over on the other end of the field after that turnover on downs deep in South Boston, or deep in their own territory, rather. So the good thing here for South Boston is if they can come up with a 3-and-out and force O'Brien to punt, they're going to get the football right back in good field position. So they got to come up. South Boston's got to come up with a stop here on this first possession of the fourth quarter to try to get O'Brien to either make a mistake or to have to punt after that first series. Because if O'Brien's able to get a drive going here, even if they don't score, they're going to kill a lot of time off the clock, and there's not going to be a lot of time left for South Boston to try to put up 2 scores. You see a good portion of the entirety of Moakley Park. Behind the football field there is a softball field and a baseball field. Obviously the track around the field. A lot of folks in South Boston like to run around that track. See the skyline there in the background. Really great area for athletic events. They have a lot of soccer tournaments where they actually have a couple of fields going from top to bottom of this field here. So just about ready to start the fourth quarter here as O'Brien takes over right around the, looks like their own 4-yard line. And they run the pitch to the outside this time to Mohamed Jalla. And Jalla makes his way up to the, it's like about the 11-yard line. So it'll be about a 7-yard pickup there on first down. It'll be 2nd down and 3 now for the Tigers. I'm sorry, he's down at the 16-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and 3 from the 16-yard line for O'Brien. Couldn't quite see who called the timeout there. Must have been South Boston, as they were unsure of what they were doing defensively there. As I mentioned, this is going to be a big series here for the South Boston Knights. Either if they can stop O'Brien on this series, that'd be huge. But if they can even if they give up a first down here, they can, make a stop on the next series and get the ball back in pretty good field position. That would give them a better opportunity to put a touchdown up. So this is a big defensive possession here for the Tigers, rather for the South Boston Knights. The O'Brien Tigers, they don't really have to throw the ball very much on this possession, especially at the start of the fourth quarter. They have a quarterback who can pick up 2 or 3 yards on a quarterback keeper, on an option play. So O'Brien can kind of play it safe here if they want to, just to kind of get out of the shadow of their own end zone, just to pick up that first down. Then they can kind of go back to what they normally do, getting their receivers and backs out in space and throwing the ball a little bit and running a spread offense. Second down and 3 now for the Tigers. From their own 16-yard line, they run the pitch to the other side now with Jalla. There you see the speed from Mohamed Jalla, who gets tripped up right around the 25-yard line. Another first down for the Tigers. 9-yard gain on the play there for Jalla. Could have been a lot more, as South Boston was able to trip him up at the 25. Now on first down, the handoff to Johnson. And Lloydell Johnson with a short gain there on first down, pickup of maybe 3 on the play. Second down and 7 now as O'Brien goes to more of a hurry-up offense. Maffeo throws it out to Jalla, Mohamed Jalla. Shaking off some tacklers. He's then dragged out of bounds right around the 37-yard line. And I think that's going to be a first down for the Tigers. So now the Tigers, this is what they like to do. They like to move the football a little bit, throw a couple of quick little passes to the outside, a couple of runs, and now they're sort of cooking offensively. They've gotten into a rhythm here after getting away from their own end zone earlier in the drive. You also see the senior experience and leadership from Luke Maffeo here. As he just never seems to be in a rush. Even if he gets some pressure in his face, he can kind of escape and run for a couple of yards. Or when he throws the ball, he knows where to put it. Now on first down is Maffeo. Again, back to throw, looking down the right side. He's got his receiver. And the ball falls incomplete. I believe that was Karan Small. He was looking for, streaking down the right sideline. Small has really good speed, as you saw him get by the defensive back there, but especially with the sun the way it is at this time of the year, it's tough to track a ball through the air like that. So Small couldn't quite come up with it. Maffeo didn't. I think if Maffeo could have led him a little bit more, that might have been an easier ball to catch too, but just couldn't connect on that one. So after taking a shot down the field, it'll be 2nd down and 10 now for the O'Brien Tigers. And Maffeo is sacked in the backfield. The ball is loose. And they're going to call it an incomplete pass as Maceo's arm was going forward. I thought that was a fumble for sure. We don't have replay right now, folks, because of our setup, our remote setup here during the pandemic. If we did, I'd like to see that again, but they did call the ball incomplete. I'm sure they saw Maffeo's arm going forward on that play. So an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down and 10 now for the Tigers from their own 37-yard line. I'm actually surprised they went to the air that many times. I figured they go back to Lloyd L. Johnson after that first incomplete pass, but you see the head referee explaining to Coach Sattywhite that his arm was going forward. Coach Sattywhite's trying to explain that it was knocked out before his arm was going forward. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 now for the O'Brien Tigers from their own 37-yard line. Maffeo again out of the shotgun. Looking deep down the middle. He's got his receiver. That's Muhammad Jalla once again up the seam. And Jalla picks up a 1st down inside the 20-yard line. So Maffeo once again hooking up with Muhammad Jalla. I believe they marked him down maybe around the 25. We'll see where they spot the football. Excuse me, that's at the 13. So they mark Jalla down at the 13-yard line. So a 50-yard connection from Maffeo to Jalla. That puts O'Brien High School back in business now from the 13. Maffeo again going to the air. He's got some rushers. They run the screen there to Johnson. Johnson turns the corner. Lydell Johnson to the end zone. Touchdown, O'Brien. Boy, it looked like for a second that Johnson could get wrapped up in the backfield, but it was Lydell Johnson turning the corner, getting by 2 South Boston defenders, and punching it in there for the Tigers for their 3rd touchdown of the game, 2nd touchdown of the night for Lydell Johnson. So he's got 1 rush in the football, the other through the air. Pretty impressive drive through the air that time for O'Brien. Maffeo with several completions on the drive. And now the Tigers will look to tack on the 2-point conversion. Maffeo now rolling to his right, looking for an opening. Just kind of gets rid of the football there. He almost had Grell streaking across the goal line there, but ball falls incomplete. But nonetheless, O'Brien putting up their 3rd touchdown of the game. They're on top 20-0 here over the South Boston Knights here midway through the 4th quarter. Now for South Boston, it's going to be tough to score 3 touchdowns here in the 4th quarter. I think the first thing you got to do, just try to put a drive together, try to get one in the end zone here in the 4th. Again, you go back to their most recent drive. They started moving the football and putting a drive together, but they couldn't quite finish it off. They were stopped on 4th down inside the 20-yard line. The O'Brien Tigers on that last touchdown drive was 8 yards, 8-play, 92-yard touchdown drive for the Tigers. capped off by that 13-yard touchdown pass from Luke Maffeo to Lloyd L. Johnson. Maffeo was 3 for 5 on the drive for 73 yards through the air, highlighted by that 50-yard connection over the middle to Muhammad Jallah. We don't have our normal Game of the Week, Player of the Game interview after the game. We don't have a sideline reporter at this game. I'm actually not there myself. I'm announcing remotely, so we won't have that feature. But, boy, you got two guys from O'Brien in Lloyd L. Johnson and Muhammad Jallah, who would be very good candidates for Player of the Game. Jallah had 2 big receptions, one for 50 yards, and then the first one was a 47-yard touchdown catch. He also has 2 interceptions, one that led to the first touchdown. Then you have Lloyd L. Johnson, who's been the best running back on the field so far today. He has 2 touchdowns, one through the air and one on the ground. And then don't forget Luke Maffeo, who's now got a couple of touchdown passes. He's got, well over 150 yards through the air, I believe, or he's got it close to about 150 yards through the air. So you've got a couple of candidates here for O'Brien who have done a nice job. You have also, those guys are also playing both ways. Luke Maffeo's made a bunch of tackles in the backfield defensively as well. So you've got about 3 guys on this O'Brien team who have really stepped up in this game. On top of the fact that their offensive line's given Maffeo time, their defensive front has been getting some penetration and making tackles in the backfield. So it's been an all-around effort for this O'Brien team. Short kick that time from Maffeo, and Southie fields it right around the 39-yard line. So we'll see if the Knights can. They actually marked the Knights down at the 40-yard line. So we'll see if South Boston can, again, try to put a drive together here late in the game. So if things stand the way they are, O'Brien will improve to 3-1 on the season. Like I mentioned, still in the hunt for that Boston North title at the end of the year. There won't be a city championship or anything like that, but we'll just look at the standings at the end of the season and see who's on top. Right now it's Latin Academy and East Boston, who came into this week at 4-0. Latin Academy has just played one Boston North team so far, so I believe they might be playing Brighton today. But now on first down, it's Anoxie looking for an opening, and he gets wrapped up in the backfield down at the 32-yard line. Can't quite tell if there was a timeout called on the field. There also might be a player down right now. It's tough to see, but usually when both teams are kneeling like that, there is a player down in the field. We also saw the EMT come across the field there now as they're looking at one of the South Boston players. I can't quite see who it is. It might be Isaiah Almonte getting a look. It looks like he's hanging onto his shoulder there. You certainly don't want to see a player like him get injured sort of late in this game right here, but Almonte's going to be getting looked at by the EMTs. Give South Boston a little bit of time to kind of regroup here. After that play, it'll be 2nd down and 15 for the South Boston Knights. Now on 2nd down, handoff is to Freeman. He tries to bounce it to the outside, but he had nowhere to go with it, so picks up maybe a yard or two on the play. So it'll be 3rd down and 14 now for the South Boston Knights. This has been South Boston's toughest obstacle so far in this game on the offensive side of the ball. You know, they get into these situations where they've had negative yardage on 1st or 2nd down, and their 3rd down situation is so tough. Right now it's 3rd and 14. You know, if it was, say, even if it was 3rd and 8, you get, you know, a yard or two on each of your first 2 plays. It's just so much more manageable than 3rd and 14. They have been successful throwing the ball down the field, so we'll see what Anoxie can do with his arm here. They're also on the right hash mark, so they might try to run to the wide side of the field. We'll see what they come up with here. Now on 3rd down, Anoxie. Short hops a throw that time to his intended receiver. Looked like he was looking for Freeman on that play. So it'll be 4th down and 14 now for the South Boston Knights. I'm sorry, that's not Almonte who's getting looked at by the EMTs. That's number 22, Sincere Tavares, the junior receiver. Not sure if he hurt his arm or he might have hurt his wrist or one of his, or a hand injury. So it'll be 4th down and 14 now for the South Boston Knights. Anoxie with 2 backs in the backfield. Looking for max protection here. Now tries to chuck it down the right sideline, and the ball's knocked up and almost intercepted. As it looked like he was looking for, can't see the number of the intended receiver there, but it was Kavon Small and Muhammad Jallah there for possibly making the interception. The ball falls incomplete. It's actually better that they didn't make the interception because now O'Brien gets to take over at the South Boston 34-ish yard line. We'll see what the Tigers do here. Again, we're not sure exactly how much time is left on the clock. So if there's less than a minute left, the Tigers will probably just run it a couple of times or even just kneel it. So 1st and 10 now from the South Boston 34-yard line are the O'Brien Tigers. You see Southie looking to blitz here on 1st down. Maffeo over the middle, and the pass is broken up nicely that time by South Boston. He was looking for the tight end, Peter Grell, excuse me. It'll be 2nd down and 10 now for O'Brien. First half, it was mostly going to Johnson to drive the ball down the field. But in the second half here for the Tigers, they moved the ball well through the air. Maffeo, again, this time with the pass in the flat out to Johnson. Lloydell makes one man miss. Johnson then skips past the 30 up to the 26-yard line. About a 9-yard pickup there on 1st down, or 2nd down rather, so it'll be 3rd down and 1 now for the Tigers. Now on 3rd down, the handoff up the middle. And once again, I believe that's Lloydell Johnson who, yep, it is him. He picks up the 1st down as he's dragged down right around the 32-yard line. Imagine the Tigers are just taking their time now and just trying to run out the clock. There shouldn't be too much time left here in the 4th quarter. And once again, they go to Johnson here on, I'm sorry, that was Muhammad Jallah with the carry there on 1st down. Didn't have much room to run, so it'll be a short pickup. Might have even lost a yard on the play. We'll call it no gain on the play, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 now for the Tigers. They pitch it over to Kayvon Small here on 2nd down, and Small fumbled the football. I believe that was recovered by South Boston. They tried that sort of end-around pitch to Small, and no, O'Brien was able to recover the fumble. So Small, more of a receiver. He doesn't really get a ton of carries throughout the game, but got that one on the end-around pitch. Did not gain any yardage on the play, so it'll be 3rd down and 10. Now for the Tigers. Tigers certainly taking a lot more time than they normally do. So I think they are trying to just kind of kill the clock here towards the end of the 4th quarter. This time they line up Jala at quarterback, and Muhammad has nowhere to go. Coming across for the South Boston Knights was number 50, Marquise, coming across to make the tackle. I think that's going to do it here from Moakley Field. As the O'Brien Tigers coming up with some big plays in the passing game, especially to Muhammad Jala, and then also Lloyd L. Johnson making some nice plays in the running game. We're able to defeat the South Boston Knights 20-0 here from Moakley Field at South Boston High School. The O'Brien Tigers improved to 3-1 on the season. Meanwhile, the South Boston Knights dropped to 0-4. Obviously, these teams do not do a handshake line just because of COVID protocols, so good to see the two teams kind of signing off there from Moakley Park. You saw O'Brien do what they normally do. They have some good athletes, and then, of course, they have a senior quarterback who has a lot of experience under center, and he gets the ball into the receiver's hands, whether it's down the field or with quick passing plays to the outside. You also saw Lloyd L. Johnson carrying the football really well there for the O'Brien Tigers. So that's why O'Brien was able to put up a 20 spot on the South Boston Knights. Also, O'Brien's defense, their defensive front seven really did a nice job coming across, making tackles in the backfield, both on the quarterback and also on any running back who was able to get carries. Also, South Boston really likes to run those bubble screens, but those plays just weren't happening today because O'Brien's defenses were able to come across, make tackles, make stops, and I think that's the biggest reason why they were able to come away with a win here today. We'll give you some final stats from this game before we sign off. And first off, quarterback Luke Maffeo, we've been talking about him the entire game. Just 3 carries for 12 yards. Those were all in the first half. But also throwing the football, we had a really nice game. 10 completions on 16 attempts. He had 156 yards through the air in a touchdown pass. That was a 47-yarder in the first half to Muhammad Jala. He also had a big 50-yard connection to Jala in the fourth quarter as well. So there you see Maffeo having a nice day. Talk about Muhammad Jala. He had 3 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. So big day catching the football from Muhammad Jala. Then we talk about Peter Grell, the tight end, 3 catches for 11 yards. That was all, I believe, in the first half. Meanwhile, rushing the football, Lloyd L. Johnson with 9 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 29 yards and a touchdown. So if you wanted to pick a player of the game, it's between Jala, Lloyd L. Johnson, and then Luke Maffeo. You've got to throw him in there as well. But I think it's probably between Johnson and Jala. Those guys both had real nice games for the O'Brien Tigers. You also saw Karan Small, 2 rushes for 16 yards. He had that fumble there that was actually recovered by one of his teammates, so it was not a turnover there for the O'Brien Tigers. Meanwhile, for the South Boston Knights, Alan Anoxe, the quarterback for Southie, with 10 carries for 32 rushing yards. He also had 9 completions with 17 attempts for 63 yards, threw 2 interceptions. One of them was towards the end of the half. He was chucking it down the field, trying to come up with a play. So that one I wouldn't really count necessarily. Isaiah Almonte, they tried to get him going, whether it was on end arounds or bubble screens, couldn't really get a lot going. He had 2 rushes for -6 yards. And then also carrying the football, Mayonnaise Freeman had 6 rushes for 40 yards. So he was the one that was sort of the big play option for South Boston throughout this game. He also had 2 catches for 47 yards. And then also Omar Baldy had 4 receptions for 22 yards for the South Boston Knights. So with Southie, we saw them string some plays together. They were able to put some drives together, but then they couldn't finish off that drive, especially that one in the third quarter. They had the ball for the entire third quarter, marched right down the field, but just couldn't continue the drive as they sort of got towards the red zone. And that's the toughest part. It's tough to score in that area. There's not a lot of space in that red zone area for any teams at any level of football. So the O'Brien Tigers improved to 3-1 on the season. The South Boston Knights dropped to 0-4 on the year. Folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Game of the Week. And once again, if you want to follow us on social media, you can certainly go to our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/GameOfTheWeekBoston. A lot of good stuff up on that site. As I mentioned, we update you on which games we're going to be covering over the next few weeks. It's hard to believe the Fall 2 football season is coming to a close. There's only a couple weeks left I believe 2 more games left in the season, so make sure you stay with us if you want to continue to watch this Fall 2 football season. We also post up all the links of all the games we cover after the fact. If you want to go back and watch games as well, they'll be up there. We also have some other updates that we give you on BPS Athletics on our Facebook page, so make sure you like us there. Also, follow us, or if you want to watch a game again, you can certainly go to our website. Go to www.boston.gov. Let me try that again. www.boston.gov/cable. You go to that website, it's a City of Boston page. You go to the bottom, it'll say Game of the Week. You click on that tab, it routes you to our video library. You can search for any game we've covered on Game of the Week. It should be there, and that'll get you to where you can watch some previous Game of the Weeks throughout the years. And finally, you can follow us on Twitter at Boston City TV, and if you want to tweet at us, use the hashtag BostonGOW. We give a lot of updates on our Twitter feed, and we tweet at the schools and at BPS Athletics at which games we're going to be covering. We also tweet out the link to the game as well, so make sure you follow us on Twitter on top of that. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the Boston City TV channel. A lot of good stuff up on our Boston City TV channel on YouTube, including meetings and press conferences and a lot of different updates on what's going on with the city, on top of course, Game of the Week, all the games that we cover on this channel. Once again, thanks for joining us here on Game of the Week, folks. We'll see you next time during this Fall 2 football season. Have a good night, everybody.